Welcome and thanks for joining us. My guest today is Joe Sangiuliano. He's the Regional Vice President of Next Generation Security, Public Sector at Palo Alto Networks. Joe, good to have you with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And as agencies are advancing their cloud instances and expanding the use of commercial cloud providers, they often are managing security with a whole suite of tools, maybe legacy tools from data centers and so forth. So talk about how to get around that, or how to simplify that, how to abstract that from a zero trust standpoint, and how maybe they can get to some kind of a unified way of managing security.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. And again, thanks for having me. So we are seeing an additional and again, just additional move to cloud security, to cloud providers, not just a single cloud provider, but multi-cloud providers. And every time our customers go to a cloud, they tend to adopt that cloud native technology there too. So that's causing some problems. Again, with multi-cloud continue to proliferate, good cloud security means probably today 7 or 10 different tools that need to be implemented for good cloud security. And that brings some risk. The risk is complexity, because with complexity has security gaps. And there's a lot more ways for our adversaries to attack us with this additional complexity. And when you look at it from a zero trust and compliance perspective, there's about 3 main risks that we tend to talk about when we address this with our customers. First is just the visibility gap and zero trust compliance, because not having a single attack surface to manage is going to really, you can't have continuous validation of that environment, which is a key tenet of zero trust. It makes it really, really hard having all those disparate tools to do that, and therefore makes it really easy for attackers to find their way in without having that visibility. Second, that we see, and that probably one of the primary things we talk about as well, is the excessive permissions and degraded trust. So 42% that we see with incidents, when we're able to track them back, according to a recent study that we have, start with identity. And again, that's because data is siloed, again, from having these multi-cloud, many different tools that our customers have to manage. And the third thing that we see that's causing a lot of problems in cloud security, again, moving to multi-cloud, is visibility. Actually, mean time to detect and mean time to respond. So because there's so many different data sources, again, and the SOC can't keep up with the data sources and without correlation to that. So adversaries are sitting or dwelling, we call dwell time, within the environment where we could have detected them and we can't because of the disparate nature of them. So what's the answer? What we're seeing today and what our customers are implementing are what we would call CNAPP, or Cloud Native Application Protection Platforms. Fully AI-enabled platform that stitches together the disparate tools into a single visibility plane. And not only is it a single visibility plane, but you also can act upon this through and use remediation, either with the cloud security team or within the SOC. And more so, we're getting in front of security by being preventative. By getting in front of that, I mean looking into the development side of things. So we talk about that from code to cloud to SOC capability. And the tools that we have today, one of which is Prisma Cloud or Cortex Cloud, does exactly that. Works with customers to be able to integrate all these disparate tools together. It saves on training costs. It provides everything I talked about from the risk perspective. We can have a unified identity, much easier to look at things across the entire attack surface as well.
I imagine the identity problem, excessive permissions, and the mean time to detect problem are kind of related, because if activity is from a trusted or seemingly trusted source, you may not act as quickly as if it's something coming from, what the heck is that vector?
That's exactly right. And that's being proliferated too and exasperated because of what's happening with AI. The AI actors, we're seeing in another recent study that we did, just in the past 3 months, there are 10x additional alerts that are happening and attacks that are happening as compared to 3 months ago. And that's because of that is because of the usage of AI from an attacking perspective. No way to keep on top of that with desperate tools and lack of context across all these all these multiple platforms.
Yeah, so forget quantum that's in the future. Right now we've got AI attacks.
It's happening right now, absolutely.
And when you said the CNAP is fully AI enabled, how does that work? Give us some more detail there.
Yeah, Cloud Native Application Protection Platform, or CNAP. Starting to see a lot more adoption to that when previously a security problem would happen in cloud and a tool would be applied to that, meaning because of the data silos that exist and how cloud security is being managed today. So we saw this coming a long time ago, and within our CNAP platform decided to integrate using AI. So it's more AI enablement of the platform stitching together legacy products. We had legacy products within that suite. One of those is cloud security posture management. Another is runtime protection. Another is application security. Those were all separate, disparate tools that we stitched together and to provide that single pane of glass where we can see an attack path happen. Like something is exposed in a VM, which tracks to an identity, which tracks to a workload being exposed, which then we can see what the attacker is doing. That was not possible before without a lot of custom integration through a COTS product. And that's really what CNAP is doing through AI and ML, where we've been providing that within the tool set itself.
Okay, got it. And that idea of backing up to development of code, then this knowledge is a way of heading off things that are going to be trouble down the line after compilation and runtime.
Well, we're trying to get to, instead of just being reactive to security, why not be proactive to security? The way to be proactive with security in the cloud, of course, is to get into the development lifecycle. Another stat that we saw from our Unit 42 team that does this threat intelligence work, 60% of incidents and alerts are happening because of vulnerabilities in the code.
Okay. And there's a people aspect to this also. And as these AI-enabled tools come in, and suddenly you have this, as you put it, plane of information or plane of visibility from what was disparate tools, it strikes me there must be a need for the SOC staff and other people connected to cybersecurity to have a little talent refresh or upskilling or training.
Absolutely. And that's the problem. I forgot to mention that earlier too, but one of the biggest struggles our federal customer has is a lack of talent to be able to handle this escalation of alerts that's happening within the SOC or within the cloud security realm as well. So the only way to get ahead of that is to unify and then train on a single platform to do that. Can you imagine, again, multi-cloud is happening. Our customers are not just opting into one cloud, it's multiple clouds. Every one of those clouds has a separate own stack and training and tools to be able to use and disparate identity to be able to manage. It's untenable. You can't continue to manage that way. So having an overarching, almost an abstraction layer of security on top of the multi-cloud is a way to make sure, and I would say using AI to help out and ML to prioritize those alerts and say, which alerts should I care about? And that we are using, because of our reach that we have within, we see millions, tens of millions of alerts, probably a heck of a lot more than that, but we use that, and because of that intelligence, we're able to say, you should care about these certain alerts and not these alerts. So we're prioritizing alerts with ML, and then we can actually remediate for them as well. So we can remediate based on policy or based on out-of-the-box capabilities that we have, or we can allow the SOC analyst to do that. So we're moving away from the regular tier 1 or tier 2 analysts having to do all that work. Back to your statement about the talent, right, and about the amount of analysts that we have.
Got it. And so then the knowledge of what's been happening through the alerts and through the actual threats that are real from the alerts, that provides almost a database of continuous learning for the machinery.
Absolutely.
That then refines the alerts and refines what it is that it's telling the operators through that one pane. Yeah, it's
again, I don't know how else to get in front of this growing challenge and attack surface that keeps on being exploited through AI.
And so with multiple clouds, you have many multiples of attack surfaces. The clouds the cloud brands don't tend to cooperate that much. They just are what they are. So it's up to the customer to manage this.
Absolutely right. And traditionally it's been, well, I've been doing this for a while too, and just getting to the cloud was the first step, right? Through FDCCI and other initiatives, and now today, you can't ignore the benefits of moving to cloud. The customers have kind of, our federal customers specifically have kind of resulted in this, ended up into this hybrid cloud world, not by design, but by default because of the benefits of cloud. So when you look at that, customers, if they continue to do security the way they've always been doing security, they're going to end up with way too many tools, and just untenable again to be able to manage all those different policies and tool sets, and then training and the operational efficiency for that, which then again will lead to bad security. So the only way to look at that when they go to multi-cloud, because it's not going away, is to have that abstracted layer of security that will exist on top of multiple clouds.
And it strikes me, with all of the different tools you are bringing together under this abstraction layer, that's a good argument for the open source approach to developing security platforms in the first place. So that, all right, if the clouds have different approaches and different APIs to what it is that's going on for the customer, if those are open source, that eases that idea of bringing it all together from a client standpoint, and the clouds, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. The way I look at that too, where it's going and where we are moving towards, when I talked about CNAPP, again, the CNAPP is a multi-cloud security tool that brings in multiple tools and APIs to be able to solve exactly what you're talking about. Now the next step for that is like, well, if I'm doing that across cloud security, why not across network? Why not across attack surface management, endpoint security, automation? That is next generation SIEM. So the next generation SIEM just does exactly that, regardless of who you may have as a federal entity. They look, hundreds of different manufacturers, hundreds of different tools today that they have in this environment. How do you manage that effectively? A next generation SIEM pulls that together, utilizing AI and ML under a COTS platform, a commercial off-the-shelf platform, so you do not have to spend millions of dollars trying to integrate this together via an integrated platform. So, and we're not naive to say that it's going to be all on one vendor to do that. So we take in thousands of different APIs or different softwares or hardware to be able to take that data, manipulate that data in a way to make it presentable to a SOC analyst, to say, here's all those different attack vectors that you're looking at across all those different surfaces, and prioritize that and then act upon it if you want to. And that's the key.
And when you add tools and add interfaces and add alert platforms, agencies find they often have to add people.
That's right.
To manage it all. And so that means you're adding not only the expense of tools, but the expense of people.
Exactly.
And so talk about Prisma Cloud a little bit in more detail and how it might be able to help with the investment side of this.
Absolutely. Obviously, when you can eliminate the amount of tools necessary under one platform, a convergence play always works from an ease of use perspective and from a cost perspective. It's going to eliminate, especially from an operations side, it will eliminate the need for multiple trainings, multiple different processes and people, and also compliance metrics that you have to be able to put into place to have effective security. So with Prisma Cloud, just from a cloud security standpoint, we pulled together across application security, or what we talked about earlier, which is in the development side. There's about 7 different tools, probably more than that customers use today. And then you put in the visibility space, like being able to visualize what's happening in the application, and also runtime security, what actually happens when I do populate this workload into my cloud environment. There are multiple point products that have been in play for a while that our customers have been putting into place, and each one of them has their costs and has their benefits as well. But moving to just that consolidated single plane to be able to manage, operate, train, it's inherently going to be more secure, inherently going to save more money and have operational effectiveness. Now, the next step from that is like, well, why is cloud security why not why not just solve cloud security problems in the SOC? It's just another endpoint that we're trying to secure, in essence. There's a lot more to it than that. I don't want to be that generalist, but the reality is, in the way that next generation SIEM is working is pulling in cloud, because we're taking our cloud security portfolio, we've merged that with our endpoint security, and we're providing a single plane across, again, network, cloud, endpoint, all into one ubiquitous SOC.
And the clouds themselves are changing because the clouds for general purpose business computing
Yes.
are different, physically different clouds and different architecture from the clouds that are increasingly being brought into the AI picture for agencies. So you have not only multiple clouds, but a new class of cloud altogether. Yeah. Is that complicating the picture, and how do you deal with that one?
Absolutely. And from a security perspective, we look at it too. We say, here's your exposures, here's what you need to be worrying about, and how can you possibly manage in today's world of escalating AI attacks, of, again, when we're seeing, according to our latest research, attackers coming in and within hours being able to expose critical data. When mean time to detect for our customers today on average can be 7 days, some cases it's 30 days, and then mean time to contain is even further than that, and then mean time to respond to that is even further. That is not something that we can allow to happen. So when I think about that question, I think about the only way forward, regardless of the operating models of the clouds, again, it's to abstract security and provide a unified policy across security with a CNAPP, and then solving that in a unified SOC that leverages AI and ML to be able to manage that. You can't keep up with the speed and the sophistication of these attacks. It's agentic AI, it's machine learning, it's embedded. We have to make sure that we're leading that way, or the attackers are only going to get more sophisticated.
Sure. And when it gets to a Prisma Cloud or a type of abstraction software product, how does that work? That's also cloud provided. I mean, how does one deploy that and acquire it?
Correct. Yeah, great question. So the future for us, because of the benefits and the ability to be able to change quickly, is cloud delivered. We're moving everything to a cloud delivered model as much as we can to support our customers, depending on how our customers want to operate. Obviously, in the DoD and IC space, there's certifications and there's certain classifications of data we have to be cognizant of. But delivering from a cloud native perspective gives us the flexibility to provide real-time changes, and we are going to continue to go down that path to do that.
Should agencies consolidate the number of clouds they use to get around some of this complexity, or should
I don't think
there's
so.
virtue in having different clouds also?
Absolutely. We want customers to have choice. We want to be available to where our customers operate, regardless of how they're operating and where they're operating, because each cloud may give better benefits depending on availability or the actual service on top that they might be providing on top of IaaS. So we want to just be available to where our customers are operating. And I think for sure there could be something new that comes up, and another player that we'll definitely support as well. So we support just about every major cloud provider in our ability to manage that from a security perspective.
Sure, and just a detailed question. When when a client starts to achieve full visibility, what are some of the things that pop up that make them say, gosh, I didn't know that was out there?
Oh, absolutely. When our customers see the platform in full view, where they used to have to swivel chair between multiple different screens and try to make their own correlations or try to integrate it all together, they're like, holy cow, I can see exactly how the bad actor is getting in. I can see what they're exposing. I can see how it is exposed. I can see what data center they're looking at. Oh, and then I can go ahead and look at and say, well, how can I possibly stop it and remediate it and push that possible patch or that possible action back to the application owner? It's life-changing.
Right. So the time is
I would
now
say,
then.
I don't know if it's life-changing, it's game-changing, because they can see that attack path all the way through.
Well, if it's your job on the line, I guess it could be life-changing also.
And then they're saying, the really big thing that our customers see, and it's still prevalent right now, is alert fatigue. And just the fact that using AI and ML with thousands to millions of alerts, being able to prioritize those alerts and say, these are the ones I really should look at based on their policies, based on what they say to us is important. And we can do that within the platform. So then we're going from thousands of alerts down to hundreds, and of those hundreds, maybe we have to act on 10. You know, it's a little bit of a sigh of relief, but of course, compliance-wise, we still report on those, and customers can look at them to say, you know, should I have acted on this or not? But the reality is, that is a big thing that we see as well, outside of the context that we're providing and the ability to then take that and act upon that. That is saving so much money, providing better security, and also, operationally is what I mean from a money standpoint as well, not let alone licensing costs.
All right, good place to leave it. Thanks so much for joining us today with some great wisdom. My guest has been Joe Sangiuliano. He's the Regional Vice President of Next Generation Security for the public sector at Palo Alto Networks. I'm Tom Temin. You're watching Federal News Network. Let's go back to the studio now for more on the Industry Exchange Cloud.